achieve the fulfillment of these particular stages, like developmental levels for an individual. In the first stage, we call it suffering. The person is disconnected, feels separate, alone, or part of the body feels disconnected. A person's antalgic, part of the body is disconnected from the other. And it results in a massive experience of disconnection and disempowerment. Nerve A must fire to nerve B. If nerve B doesn't receive the signal, it actually sends a death signal out across the whole nerve tract up to the brain, and it actually segregates that area, so the area that was associated with a pain or trauma is actually pushed down. It can no longer find it because a surgical anesthetic has occurred. The body has actually anesthetized the area. Well, when the person disconnects in subluxation and cannot experience the experience, there's a disconnection and parts become alienated, isolated, redirected. Energy and information is put down into different parts of the body. What we're looking to do is develop collateral pathways so they can reconnect again. And again, the reconnection is necessary for even the vertebrate body to find all four articulations. Even though you're touching here, if that's associated with a particular vertebral subluxation, as you connect here, the body can connect better at the vertebral level too. The first stage is the stage of suffering. Feel helpless, like you can't connect. The second one, there's a high charge of polarity in the situation. I must get rid of this. This is the cause. This is the problem. And the third stage is involved in feeling stuck, and you have to make a massive change because you can't go there anymore. In the Discover Care, we deal with these first stages, and especially starting care, helping a person develop a relationship with the body. The relationship occurs with three aspects predominantly. 1, breath. 2, touch. And 3, energy. Breath is always true. That's why when you're not telling the truth or really upset, you don't breathe. Movement is always true. The body moves and expresses itself pretty rationally what it's really going on. And touch is true. That's why if you're upset with somebody, you're not going to synchronize your breathing with them. You don't want them to touch you. You don't want to touch them. You're not going to, and you're not going to move much. You can stay rigid. That helps you stay in that less resourceful state. What we're going to do is develop a relationship with the body. You're going to help develop a relationship with the practice member, with your patient, where they're going to use focused attention, and focused attention changes brain architecture. Focus attention on the breath, the movement, the energy, through 1 of 3 areas. The upper chest area, a little below the first and second rib, not over the heart. The second area is at the gut, the epigastric area. And the third is over the umbilicus of the belly button. Both hands must be like this. If they're like that, it sends different signals to the brain. Here it's like this, and you're helping the person have a break-in. You may want a breakthrough for a person. You can't have a breakthrough until you're broken in, especially people with massive trauma, especially people with drug addictions, especially people who have been on chronic pain medication, especially people who have attention deficit challenges, especially people who have been on psychiatric medication. They must develop a greater connection with the body, which tremendously accelerates care and also minimizes. It also minimizes the actual more challenging parts of the healing process. And now I'm going to walk you through the exercise for stage 1, which also impacts on the connective tissue. I'm going to put my hands here, position number 1. Thumbs down, hands like this, right below the clavicles, the shoulders back here, and I start doing the exercise. And you could do it there. I find the zone of peace right here. I take inventory on how easy or difficult it is to move, breathe, and pay attention just in this one zone, creating a lens into the body for this area. And with repetition, that spot becomes an immediate connection for me to be connected no matter what's happening in my life. I then go to second position right here. You notice this actually is stronger and easy for me to do. I find the place of peace on the way out. Right there, I focus on the place of peace. I go to a third position over the belly button, and I do the same. And for me, it works better with my eyes closed. And I notice that as I bring my hands back to the body, it's not as connected as much. So I say, I'm not so connected as my hands go back in. I come back to the area that's most connected, which is here. That's my strength, that's my resource. I find the zone of peace, and I go back to the place that was least connected. And I go all the way in this time. I find the place of peace. I go back to this number one, and now this is more refined, just in this area. Find the place of peace. It's not so connected here. I say sometimes I'm disconnected here. And it worked. Why? Because admitting that I'm disconnected means I'm aware of it. And that's really good to admit where you're at. And you generally make the breath pretty close to silent. And now I have the awareness in all the spots. What happens if I go to connect to one of the three spots and it still gets connected? I may go to say second stop and say stay. Sometimes it seems like nothing works because that's the experience when you're disconnected, like nothing works. And that may be effective. Now, for many people, especially the achievers, admitting that sometimes they're disconnected or nothing works, very often it's something they don't do, and actually a source of pain. Because in order to make it work, you have to first admit that it doesn't work. That's what stage one is about. Becoming aware that you're disconnected, that things aren't working the way they are, and once you admit that, you can bring on resource to make it work. So, SRI, somato-respiratory integration, the other hand of NSA clapping, together it creates a package of helping the practice member or patient be empowered in their self-awareness and progress. Very, very powerful for them to be empowered to make more constructive changes, which is innately guided for them. In this program, we're introducing you to the concept of somato-respiratory integration and the concept and the skill set to begin with stage one SRI exercise. There are 11 stages after this, each with phenomenal outcomes for the individual and in their life. There are resources available for you on knowing more about SRI. I invite you to help your practice members to participate in the sympathetic and parasympathetic improvement, the front and the back of the body, and helping them become aware that awareness is an essential part of their progress.